Now, I would like to call the first speaker, Zainab. Oh, Zainab, you turn on the video. Oh, yeah. Zainab, actually, she is repeating her speech. She is doing so-called the second speech. And the second speech is to work on the feedback provided to her when she delivered her speech the first time. Her path is presentation mastery. Before I invite her, I would like to invite her evaluator, Kugan, to read out the objective to the speaker. Kugan, over to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the evening. Hi, hello, my name is Kugan and I'm the evaluator for Toastmaster Zainab, who will be presenting her evaluation and feedback project under speech number 2 under the path of presentation mastery. Now, the purpose of this speech project is for the member to present a speech on any topic, receive feedback, and apply the feedback to a second speech. And to demonstrate that he or she has applied the feedback received from his or her first speech. The member, regards to the speech, the member will deliver a well-organized speech on any topic and incorporate feedback from her previous speech evaluation, and may choose to present the same speech or the new speech. It may be humorous, informational, or any style the member chooses.
Can I confirm, did you receive the first speech?
Yes, I did receive the evaluation form for her first speech.
Thank you.
So the title of the speech is Assassination, and the time will be 5 to 7 minutes.
Thank you.
So to Toastmaster Zainab, all the very best.
Thank you. Now I would like to invite the GE to read out the notes to the evaluator. Over to you, GE.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the evening. Competent communicator Kugan. During the completion of this project, the member received feedback about her speech and she worked to apply the feedback to a second speech. The member will deliver a well-organized speech on any topic and incorporate feedback from the previous speech evaluation. The member may choose to present the same speech or a new speech. The speech may be humorous, informational, or any style the member chooses. Be sure the member gave you notes or that you spoke with the member before the meeting to discuss the feedback she plans to apply in this speech. Pay close attention to these parts of the member's presentation while also providing a comprehensive evaluation of the speech as a whole. Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you. Zainab, your speech title is Assassination. Assassination, Zainab, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the evening. Ladies and gentlemen, you might wonder, why did she come up with this title, Assassination? Maybe our Toastmaster is a bit violent or bloodthirsty. Well, I would like to first ask you what comes into your mind when you first heard this title, Assassination?
Killing.
Killing. Excellent. Any other?
It's just murder.
Murder. It's wonderful.
Death.
Death. Exceptional. Okay, so assassination is defined as murder or sudden secret attack. Now that you have come up with the definition of assassination by yourself, let's talk about the most outstanding assassination weapon or method that you can think of.
Poison.
Poison. Okay.
Depression.
Marvelous. I have heard several different responses And for me, I choose suffocation as the worst tool ever. This is because it renders the victim inert. And so does other methods of assassination. This include rumors and gossip. But to go into rumors and gossip, we have to look at other words that are attached to assassination. These words include digital assassination and character assassination. So digital assassination is also known as online attack, which targets the brand or a business. Whereas character assassination refers to slandering or vicious personal verbal attack on a person. And tonight, I'll focus on character assassination. The goal of character assassination is to destroy or damage that person's reputation. The general approach is to target an individual's private life, his behavior, his or her values, and identity. For example, to question the achievements, to mock that person, lying, slandering, to hurt the target morally and emotionally. Like, if I'm going to talk about the slandering of a woman, I'll talk about the verbal accusation that a woman has engaged in, that she has engaged in immoral or unchaste behavior. The impact of character assassination, it damages the damage sustained can last a lifetime or for many centuries after death. Molière, a French playwright, actor, and poet, said that folk whose own behavior is most ridiculous are always to the fore of slandering others. People who engage in character assassination are often diagnosed having narcissistic personality disorder, shortly NPD. They are emotionally manipulative people. What they do, they have no qualms whatsoever in assassinating your character. They stop at nothing until they punish you for real or imagined transgressions. The victims of character assassination. Now we come to the victims of character assassination. How should they tackle being assassinated unknowingly? So they should bear in mind that small minds can't comprehend big spirits. To be great, you have to be willing to be mocked, hated, misunderstood. So what you should do, stay strong. There was an Arabic story book that I read about an elephant who was envious of a bird because the bird was light and can fly everywhere. Even though the elephant is huge in size, right? And I guess it's even the largest animal on earth. The title of that book was Dawri fil Hayah, translated as My Role in Life. The moral of the story is not to waste your time counting what others can do. Why? What are their abilities? How wonderful they are, or how excellent they are. Instead, find out more about your own potential. Remember, great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, and small minds discuss people. This is a quote by Eleanor Roosevelt. Dalai Lama said, "Do not let others' behavior destroy your inner peace." According to Guru Singh's life lesson, hashtag number 31, If you attach to negative behavior of others, it brings you down to their level. And this is the same for character assassination too. Just like character assassination is the act of lowering one's own character in thought of doing for others. In helping others, we help ourselves. And in hurting others, we hurt ourselves. A lot of people will judge you based on what they heard from others, based on rumors and gossips that they have from the graveyard or wherever, from the dark places. But what you should do is, you should never let them get to you. Don't let it deter you from being true to yourself. The less you respond to people, the less you respond to negative people, the more peaceful your life will become. Thank you for listening, and back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Yep. Good story. Next, move on to the second speaker, who is our Jun Yao from ITC. He is doing his path strategic relationship. Level 2, project 1. His evaluator is Dr. Rashid and PM5 LD5. Dr. Rashid, will you please read the objective to the speaker? Over to you.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yep.
My internet is quite unstable today, but if you can hear me, it's okay. June is attempting his level 2 project 1, understanding your leadership. His title, I'm not sure if I got it right. Is I, your benevolent dictator. The main purpose of June's project is for the speaker to demonstrate an understanding of his leadership style. And the purpose of his speech is to share some aspects of his leadership style, maybe during his experiences, what he has experienced, to share with us, or discuss any leadership style that he finds appropriate to himself. June, back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you. Now, I would like to invite the GE to read the notes to the evaluator. Over to you, GE.
Evaluator Dr. Rashid, during the completion of this project, the member responded to a questionnaire to help identify his primary leadership style. The member will deliver a well-organized speech about some aspect of leadership styles and may choose to speak about his own leadership style or styles and their impacts. The speech may be humorous, informational, or any style the member chooses, but it should not be a report on the content of the Understanding Your Leadership Style project. Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you. Jun Yao, I try to read your title correctly. I try, okay? Your title should read this way. This I, your benevolent dictator. Am I right? This I, your benevolent dictator. Jun Yao, over to you.
I'd like to check if I'm audible first. Am I?
Yeah, you're audible.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Leadership. Arguably one of the most glorified and sought after skill in any individual today. Throughout history, notable figures were predominantly leaders, whether that is for a company or an army, an empire or a country. And here in Toastmasters, we often emphasize a lot on nurturing future leaders. And in one of the last few Toastmasters meetings I've been to, the host was just talking about that. We all have a leader within ourselves. Which brings us to the question my speech is trying to answer today. What is my leadership style? Well, I answered the Toastmasters questionnaire on leadership styles, and this is a list of my leadership styles in the order of most dominant to least dominant. Democratic, coaching, innovative, affiliative, altruistic, pace-setting, authoritative, and bureaucratic. And I have to say, I kind of agree with this result. Let's take a look at my most dominant leadership style, democratic. According to the Toastmasters questionnaire, the leadership style, the democratic leadership style relies heavily on consensus decision-making, and that the leader is often comfortable letting others take over for a while, which I feel like accurately describes me, because I find it tiring if I have to lead all the time. Sometimes it's just more relaxing to be led, to have someone hold your hand for a little bit. But according to the Toastmasters questionnaire, it also says that the democratic leadership style is not very effective when the task given is time limited, or if the team members are not knowledgeable or experienced enough to make any quality contributions, which unfortunately is also true. I remember back when I was in Form 6, my group and I had an assignment. We had to make a PowerPoint presentation and write a report. But unfortunately, most of us, including me, didn't have much knowledge of the subject at hand, or to even know how to write a proper report. So what ended up happening was we gave most of the work to our most knowledgeable member of the team. Yeah, shame on me for that one. Let's talk about my second most dominant leadership style, coaching. According to the questionnaire, the coaching leadership style works best in a one-on-one setting, and works even better with an individual who has not yet realized their full potential. And when I saw this, I immediately thought back to when I was working as a private tutor. The job didn't last very long, never mind you. The student's mother said it was too expensive or something. It was just 15 ringgit per hour, by the way. Anyway, when I was teaching the student, I felt like I was in my element. I knew the student very well. He had very similar goals to mine, and he was motivated. He only needed someone to point him in the right direction. And when I was teaching him, it was very fun, figuring out how to use Google Jamboard as an online classroom and figuring out how to motivate him better. That was the most fun I've ever had. And I definitely feel like the coaching leadership style could be utilized a lot more for me. And from here on, I'd like to touch on my second least dominant trait, authoritative. Now, the reason I started off with this is because I don't have a lot to say about the rest of my leadership styles. But I found this particularly interesting was because of the word authoritative. The moment I saw this word, I associated it with the word dictatorship. According to the questionnaire, authoritative leaders set clear instructions and sets out clear standards. And most authoritative leaders are also more experienced and more knowledgeable than the people they usually lead. And this brings me back to when I was in a debate competition. Now, in my debate competition, I was the mastermind of the group somehow. And I instructed my members on what to do, every single little detail. I told them what to say it, when to emphasize on it, and what to do if the opponent says what, so on and so on. And in that essence, I truly felt like I was a dictator. I was controlling each and every bit of their movement, but for a greater cause. We ended up at the quarterfinals, and this was all because of my seemingly dictatorship leadership style that just appeared out of nowhere. And I was surprised by that as well. To sum it up, I feel like we all show different aspects of ourselves in different situations. So while I can be a very democratic leader, a very supportive leader, when given a chance, I can be quite authoritative. Hence my title, Tisai, your benevolent dictator. Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Now, I would like to call upon our first evaluator, competent communicator Kugan, to give his evaluation on the speech delivered by Toastmaster Zainab. Over to you, competent communicator Kugan.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Toastmaster Zainab, all I could say is I really love your speech. I really enjoyed the delivery of your speech. You did an excellent job in presenting in a way that is friendly, calm, and with a very warm personality that I noticed from your speech. Now, based on the comments that I received from your first speech, you did very well with regards to your clarity in voice, which is something that I've noticed here in the second speech, except for the fact of technical glitches in between, which I didn't really hear certain words correctly, but that is an external factor which we don't have any control of. In terms of vocal projection, again, I noticed that there were improvements. You stressed certain points with the voice, with a different intonation in your voice. And the points and the messages were spoken clearly. I could hear certain words, which makes the entire speech more understandable for listeners, audience. And in terms of enthusiasm and engagement, I could see from the way that you utilize your hand gestures and your eye contact, there was an improvement, which is something that is being placed on notes of improvement from your previous speech. But this is something that I've noticed in this the second speech, that there is in fact an improvement in your vocal projection, your hand gestures, and your eye contact as well. But I also, on the other hand, I noticed that you were referring to certain parts of in certain parts of your speech. I noticed that you were referring to notes while you were presenting, which I recommend not to do that in the future, which means that you could practice a little bit more on the delivery, and also try not to use too much of quotes for your conclusion, as well as try not to question the audience a lot, which causes the time for the speech to be a little bit longer. So if you could avoid that, that would be great. Other than that, I really love your speech, and you did a fantastic job with your delivery. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you, competent communicator Kugan. Our second evaluator is Dr. Rashid, who will give us his evaluation on the speech delivered by Toastmaster Junior. The stage is yours, Dr. Rashid.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Can I confirm if I'm audible?
Yes, you are.
Thank you. Toastmaster June, you really educated us on leadership style tonight. I love your speech because you started with the background of who is a leader, what leadership is. And then you went ahead to explain or to list the different type of leadership styles that we have. And then you capture the best ones that are related to you, because you used your own personal experiences to explain, to give examples of your moments in this type of leaderships. So the first one you picked was democratic. You explained why a democratic leadership is one of the best leadership that enticed you, and you even brought in the idea of when you were a presenter in your school and happened to not know so much about the topic, and you had to move into give the stage to another speaker, right? Sorry, my camera is not, my internet is not so good tonight. And you gave us, you shared with us your experience on coaching as a type of leadership. And then you chose authoritative as your own personal like, that if you are given a chance, you choose to be authoritative in nature. Toastmaster June, I find your speech quite inspiring and very interesting because you have good gestures, you have very good eye contact, you have an extremely appropriate flow of speech content. And I have 3 comments for you. The first is I found you speaking so fast. I believe if you can bring in the power of pause in your speech to show emphasis at some point, it's going to take your speech to the next level. So please, the first thing is power of pause. Don't go too fast and don't go too slow. Your gestures were meaningful. They portray the message directly. But then what I picked and I thought you should have brought in is engagement with the audience, because at some point we were like a bit kind of bored with the message. If you had picked or pushed a question to us, I think the message would have been much more clear and much more better understood. So the last that I've found that I believe is a point that if you take into your speech, can take your speech to the next level, is your facial expression. You were too serious in this speech. Try to smile a little bit. It's going to neutralize the atmosphere, you know. Smile. Show us that, yes, I'm authoritative, but I love it, you know. But overall, Toastmaster John, I extremely enjoyed your speech. You have had some experiences in leadership, and I believe authoritative is a good choice for now. Even though you answered Zainab by saying it's subjective, at any given point, you may decide to be 1 or 2, or even combine. I look forward to your next speech, John. And I enjoyed your speech, and I believe each and every member of this meeting enjoyed your speech. Thank you very much for sharing your leadership style with us, and I wish you all the best and congratulations on meeting your target in this speech. Back to you, General Evaluator.